Massive changes are coming to Meta as the tech giant's quest for efficiency continues.
Unrest in Hollywood could disrupt the entertainment industry unless execs find a solution by May 1st.
And President Biden plans to take a stance against the GOP in an East Coast speech later today.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV News at Noon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining ntTV News at Noon. I'm Lillian Kosh.
And I'm Ariana Williams. Denton County commissioners are considering a new virtual assistant to answer telephone calls in local tax offices.
ntTV's Sydney Jolivet has more on what this could change, meaning for local taxpayers. Sydney?
That's right. Our very own Denton County is thinking of incorporating an AI system into tax offices. County commissioners decided to postpone the purchase of an intelligent virtual assistant telephone answering system for Denton County tax office. Instead, they approved the purchase of 59 Studio, a type of call center software. With 6 offices across Denton County, the software would help alleviate the overload of work. The software would be able to get answers to questions that the department would typically ask the callers, send the caller information via text messages, and directly transfer the correct staff members to the calls. While the county commissioners agreed that the AI system would help the office, they worried it would take the place of face-to-face interaction. But Michelle French, the county's tax assessor, said it would not. French stated that the goal is to route customers to information they need quickly and efficiently. County Judge Andy Eads said he understood the need to ease the tax office's struggles, but prefers the old-fashioned way of doing things. He pointed out that French only answers 24 out of 40 business hours. He only answers the phone for that long, essentially adding to the overwork of the staff. The item has been tabled for now, and that's all I have. Back to you guys in studio.
Thanks, Sydney. While Denton legislators are focused on AI, Texas state leaders are focused on gun control. As we approach the 1-year anniversary of the massacre at Ann Elementary School in Uvalde, a Texas House committee tasked with community safety is weighing several bills relating to firearms. Reporter Michael Adkinson takes a closer look at how state legislators are attempting to prevent deadly shootings in the future.
It was just last session Texas approved new permitless carry policies granting most every adult above 21 access to firearms without a permit. Since then, and nearly a year ago, the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, killing 19 children and 2 teachers, fueled the fire for gun control advocates.
I remember a time when we would be horrified by a mass shooting because it was a rare, almost unheard of event. Unfortunately, we don't live in that time anymore.
Today, a House panel created this session by Speaker Dade Phelan and chaired by Republican Ryan Guillen, tasked with the express goal of enacting community safety policies, including firearms regulation, is meeting to weigh in on more than a dozen bills, many of which could lead to arms control. Among them is a House bill from Representative Tracy King, whose district includes Uvalde. His bill would ban individuals under 21 from purchasing semi-automatic rifles, directly targeting situations like in Uvalde, where the shooter legally purchased those kinds of weapons on his 18th birthday. Democrat Roland Gutierrez, who represents Uvalde in the Senate, called this a significant step.
We can prevent so much that's happening in our country and in our state if we put our minds to it. It's unfortunate that this discussion is not happening in the Senate.
Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who presides over the Senate, has chastised Senator Gutierrez for bringing up gun control legislation on the Senate floor, usually saying it's not related to any bills being discussed.
Stick to the topic of the issues that you're asking questions on, or you will not be recognized in the future.
In fact, none of Senator Gutierrez's 29 bills, many of which cover gun control, have been taken up for any discussion.
Beyond Tuesday's hearing, there are still several hurdles to overcome before any gun control legislation could pass. And even if the House does pass that bill, the odds of it moving through the Texas State Senate are even slimmer.
You know, I think people might be questioning how the weather is outside considering our 2 different outfit choices. I got on long sleeve, short sleeve over here.
I mean, you're the smart one because it's really cold in studio, but if you go outside, you're going to break a sweat.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and toss it over to our weatherman, Victor Villagrán, to see what the rest of today will look like. Victor?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, y'all. But yeah, it's looking pretty warm outside. As you can see right here, we're at 75 degrees. It's feeling like 75. The wind speeds are at 22 miles per hour, so it is a bit windy, but it's still pretty hot outside. Moving on to later tonight, you're going to see it's going to be relatively hotter. It's going to be at 80, feeling even hotter than that at 82, but the wind speed's still the same, still going to be at 22, so still pretty windy, if I do say so myself. Looking at tomorrow, we're going to be seeing a bit different, not really actually, just the wind speed is looking different. It falls down to 15 miles per hour wind speed, but the temperature is still relatively the same, high 70s, low 80s, at 78, feeling like 81. It's going to be pretty cloudy, just like it is right now. Otherwise, that's all I got for your first look. I got more later on in the show. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Victor. There's a new crime documentary series trying to tell the same story in a different perspective, which has led to quite a bit of controversy. However, today our reporter Valeria Herrera is here to clear things up and share what really happened in Waco, Texas, 30 years ago today. Vale?
Thanks, Ariana. Whether you were there 30 years ago or have just recently learned about the standoff that took place in Waco through a Netflix series, today is the anniversary of the 51-day standoff between the Branch Davidians and the federal authorities. The standoff started back in February 28, 1993, when ATF agents attempted to arrest David Koresh for stockpiling illegal weapons. Ultimately, Koresh and Branch Davidians members refused to leave the compound, and things quickly took a turn, and soon all eyes were on Waco. A shootout took place before the FBI decided to move him on the compound with tear gas, which set off an intense fire in the building. In total, 4 federal agents and 82 Branch Davidian members, including 24 children, died during the violent confrontation and fire. However, more than a dozen members survived and were later charged with relating to the death shootout at the compound, and 8 members were charged with voluntary manslaughter, and 11 more were found guilty of conspiring to kill federal agents. Ladies, back to you at the desk.
Vale. Major changes are expected at the social media giant Meta, according to company leadership. In part of a months-long downsizing and restructuring effort, Meta announced it will trim tens of thousands of employees during multiple waves of layoffs. Meta's head of human resources said that the company will begin to notify employees which jobs are being cut. Meta will then begin to reorganize teams internally as management aims for the company to become leaner and more efficient. According to internal memos, teams working on Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, and virtual reality divisions can expect to be affected. The latest layoffs will build on November's workforce cuts that slashed 11,000 jobs, or about 13% of Meta's workforce.
Meanwhile, commercial airline leadership is warning of an upcoming wave of pilot retirements, furthering the nation's pilot shortage. President and CEO of Regional Airline Association, Faye Malarkey Black, is set to speak before a House committee on Wednesday and provide an update on the nationwide pilot shortage. Currently, 42 states have less airline service now than before the pandemic, and Black thinks a large amount of retirements could soon make things worse. Already over 135 airports have lost at least a quarter of their service, and airlines have completely cut off flights to 11 airports in smaller cities. As of right now, less than 8% of the pilot workforce is under the age of 30. While a record 9,500 pilots earned their license last year, that number is not keeping up with demand and the scores of pilots reaching retirement age.
One of Broadway's fan favorites is now a thing of the past. We've got this story today.
And if you're driving through Denton this afternoon, expect some delays. We'll tell you why right here after the break.
Are you feeling okay? No, I've been feeling gross all week.
Maybe you should go get a COVID test.
But I already have all 3 of my shots.
Yeah, but you can still get it. I mean, maybe you should go get one just in case.
Yeah, you're right. We have that party and all.
Yeah.
Why do we even get tested here?
Let me check.
You can find free COVID testing sites at the University Union, room 381 on weekdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and on weekends, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., and at Chestnut Hall, room 120, from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. You have to show the QR code given to you when you arrive for an appointment. Tests take no longer than 10 minutes to complete. Results will be sent through text or email within the next 48 hours.
I got a negative COVID test. Me too. Oh my god, let's go to the party. Yes. Let's go.
What does Talons do?
So I'm the Vice President of External Relations for Talons. That means that I basically oversee all the external committees. Our external committees entail our Model A, it's a Mean Green Machine. So they bring it to football games especially, so every game it's kind of there, every home game. The Model A is like a symbol of UNC pride, and it's a big tradition that we are so lucky to uphold and maintain. When people look at it, they see it, and they're like, oh, that's the Mean Green Machine. There must be a game today or something to ramp up school spirit for basketball, softball, volleyball, any of those things. We have amazing teams, so we just want to show school spirit for them. Bonfire Committee, which is in charge of putting together the bonfire every year for homecoming. It's kind of just a whole semester-long process up until Build Week that we have to put together and oversee and make sure safety regulations are followed and risk management is taken care of. Cannon Crew, which oversees and takes care of the cannon. They fire it at games, they take it to special occasions.
If you plan on taking Interstate 35 to go anywhere this afternoon, I'd find another way because the annual Congressional Medal of Honor recipient motorcade will be coming through Denton today between 4:30 and 6 p.m. The motorcade will include more than 550 vehicles and will feature public safety vehicles and motorcyclists who will be honoring and escorting Medal of Honor recipients from DFW's International Airport to Gainesville. The Medal of Honor is the nation's highest medal for valor in combat that can be awarded to United States Armed Forces members.
Now, while Medals of Honor motorcades aren't all too common, other car delays and troubles are. Ariana, have you ever had car trouble?
I have before, but I've never broken down in the middle of the road, thankfully. But, you know, all I can do is fix a tire. That's about all I can do.
Well, now help might actually be raining down from the sky. ntTV's Crystal Prentice is live with more. Crystal?
That's right, y'all. Ford has plans to jumpstart your car for you. Nothing new for people with roadside assistance, but this isn't roadside anymore. Ford has patented a system where a drone will find your location using a GPS system, fly to you, raise the hood, and then jumpstart your car for you. The new system will be very helpful for people who break down in rural or remote places. Not every patent turns into a final product, but I know I'd be pretty happy if a drone came and jump-started my car instead of having to call a tow truck. That's all I have for y'all today. Back to y'all at the desk.
I'd be interested to see how these drones take on the ever-changing weather in Texas.
I know, it's time and time again, always unpredictable, but luckily for us, Victor is pretty accurate with his weather reports. How is the rest of the week going to play out, Victor?
Thanks, y'all. And as you can see right here, the way North Texas is playing out today, we're going to be seeing Denton. We already talked about Denton at 75, but all around it, it's pretty similar, mid-70s, mid to high, mid to low, in that same range. Decatur at 75, then we got Bowie at 77. Over here, it's at 83, we got 78. So you can see pretty consistent temperatures all around. And then if we look over at the Texas state map, once we go wider, we're going to see pretty similar things. I mean, Abilene is at 84, so it's a little bit harder than Denton right now. Then Austin, it's same as Denton, 75, and that's way more south. Houston right next to Austin at 80, so a little bit hotter. So you can see these temperatures are kind of staying around that same range of high 70s, mid 70s. Now, looking at later the week, you're not going to be, you wouldn't expect it. We're going to be seeing a lot more rain and storms later this week. Not a guarantee, of course. You know, tomorrow it's going to be at 63% chance of seeing any rain with a high of 79, low of 55. Then on Friday, again, over 50% chance, high of 73, low of 48. Saturday, we're going to take a little bit of a break with some just clouds, real no chance of rain on that day. And then Sunday, we're going to be seeing another high above 50% chance of rain. Monday, again, over 43% chance of rain with a high 66, low 55. And then Tuesday, wrapping up our week with more possible storms. So be prepared throughout the week with your umbrella just in case, because we could be getting some showers throughout the week. Otherwise, that's all I got for y'all. Back to y'all at the desk.
On Wednesday, President Biden is set to highlight his economic plan during a speech at Union Training Center in Maryland. As fights about long-term spending and deficits heat up on Capitol Hill, the White House says Biden will contrast himself against the House Republicans, who want to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act and move manufacturing overseas. Biden will outline his plan to cut the deficit by nearly $3 trillion over the next 10 years by asking large corporations and the nation's top earners to pay their fair share. He also plans to cut spending on special interests. The White House is banking on the plan being popular among Americans, even though it doesn't have a real chance of passing on Capitol Hill.
And while the president has been focused on the economy, his Secret Service has been focused on a tiny White House intruder. The agency says a toddler set off security alerts by crawling through a fence on the north side of the White House. Secret Service officers responded quickly and reunited the child with their parents. Interestingly though, this has not been the first time a child has put the Secret Service on alert. Back in 2014, a toddler squeezed through the White House fence, prompting a temporary lockdown. Then President Obama was forced to delay an address to the nation he had scheduled for that day.
Decades of work from activists, education leaders in New York officially placed a statewide ban on Native American mascots. Kristen Moran takes a look at how this decision will impact several school districts across the state.
All those in favor?
Aye. The Board of Regents unanimously approved the state education department's requirement that districts across New York can no longer use Native American names, mascots, imagery, or logos.
We're committed to following those regulations, those changes.
Tonawanda City Schools Superintendent Dr. Timothy Oldenburg is now preparing for his district to change its logo. Oldenburg says this change will be costly with no support from the state.
And we're a district that's going to comply, and we're going to do very good work working with our stakeholders, our community, and again, most importantly, the students in determining what our next steps are.
If changes aren't made by the end of the 2024-2025 school year, it could be ineligible for state aid.
We will have to, because of New York State, change our chief and our Native American male figurehead that we've been using since the inception of the district.
Iroquois Central School District Superintendent Douglas Schofield says the school's mascot, when it was created, was done out of a sign of respect.
Because it's been respectful, and we want to be respectful, if this is the direction for respect to change, we should honor that and move forward with it. And then we're going to move forward with a bright new future, and that will be inclusive of everybody.
And these changes are what John Kane, a Native activist, says is long overdue.
I hope the student bodies of these schools are educated as to why this was necessary.
He says the logos and mascots are cultural appropriation.
And we're saying we're just taking our identity back. We're reclaiming it because what you've done was misappropriated it.
In Western New York, the ban will force at least 4 school districts to change mascots.
After the break, we'll take a look at a film set surrounded by controversy that's back in action this week.
And while baseball seems to be taking over right now, there's no shortage of sports news here in North Texas. Stick around.
Good evening, my name is Amanda Hasbell, and I'm joining you here today in the Union Parking Garage. Today we're going to be going over how to drive safely in the parking garage. Let's go see. Oh my God, this girl just got hit by a car. Let's go see what happened. Ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay?
Did you see that lady hit me with a car?
Yeah, we did. I got it all on video.
Oh my God.
Let's go over here and talk about how we can prevent that.
Yeah, not the hospital.
Well, right now we're going to ask you a couple questions on how we can drive safely in the parking lot. What are ways that we can be aware of our surroundings?
Oh, we can look both ways.
Jenna, also, how about putting the distractions away?
Yes, just like our phones, turning our music down, and also not focusing on our passengers.
Where can you get information on how to get a parking pass?
Transportation.unt.edu.
If you park in a garage, make sure you pay on the app or look for further instructions on how you should pay.
And remember, no pass, no park. Let's all try to keep our mean green community safe.
Remember, we're all in this together.
Drive safe.
Hollywood on hold. Production on many of your favorite series and films could soon come to a halt. The Writers Guild of America has exceedingly voted to go on strike if no labor deal can come to play before May 1st. Reporter Mike Valerio touched down in Los Angeles and explained what the writers are fighting for and what a potential strike means for your next binge watch.
A strike is a brutal thing.
For Writers Guild of America negotiators, a record 97.9% approval to authorize a strike is a major weapon at the negotiating table.
The unfortunate nature of our business is that everything that the Writers Guild has achieved, minimum compensation, pension and health benefits, residuals, has all come from either a strike or the real threat of one.
The WGA says the rise of streaming and the shortening of traditional TV seasons are making it difficult for members to make a living wage.
We're just looking to be fairly compensated for the value we create.
The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers represents several major entertainment companies. They've released a statement reading in part, quote, "Our goal is and continues to be to reach a fair and reasonable agreement." On strike, shut them down! The last writer's strike came in 2007 and lasted 100 days, but today's landscape looks very different.
We were just catching up to production stoppages and COVID encumbrances.
The impact of a strike would reverberate from Hollywood backlots to America's living rooms.
What you're looking at is sort of shows that you are anticipating a season coming up with in the next few months could be delayed as much as a year, if not more, depending on how the strike plays out.
I know things are at a halt in Hollywood, but I heard there's been movement on the Rust set again.
Yes, it's been an interesting story to follow, but our fellow reporter, Kennedy Fowler, has the details on the movie set resuming production amidst the controversy. Kennedy?
Alec Baldwin movie Rust is set to resume Thursday morning in Montana. The studio behind the film told the press about its progress yesterday. Rust was a scene of a murder in 2021 as cinematographer Juliana Hutchins was killed in a prop gun shooting on the film's New Mexico set. A settlement agreement between both parties involved allows the movie to be completed despite the controversy surrounding the lead actor and armorer. Baldwin and armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed are facing involuntary manslaughter charges. Baldwin and Gutierrez-Reed both pleaded not guilty. Baldwin and director Joel Souza, who was shot and injured in the shooting, are expected to return and finish the film. While one production is rising from the ashes, another one falls. Phantom of the Opera is taking its final bow, at least for now. The classic musical is closing this Sunday evening after 35 years. That makes the Phantom of the Opera Broadway's longest-running production ever, nearly performing 14,000 shows. COVID-19 halted the show for a year, but after returning to the stage in 2021, the running costs approached $1 million a week. More often than not, the shows would not gross enough to break even the costs. New York City honored and thanked the composer Andrew Lloyd Webber last week with a key to the city. Weber thanked the Broadway community for its efforts, saying it is the reason why so many people come to New York City. Broadway is not the only company to shut down one of its own business ventures. Netflix decides to finally cut the cord and discontinue its DVD rental service after a 25-year run. This fall, the streaming service will officially say goodbye to its DVD rental service, including the eye-catching red envelopes that came with it. Netflix tweeted Tuesday that it will send its last red envelope on September 29th. Reportedly, the company has mailed out more than 5 billion DVD and Blu-ray rentals to subscribers across America since 1998. CEO Ted Sarandos issued a statement that with DVD business declining and online streaming on the rise, made it hard to continue good quality service for its members. This decision will help Netflix maintain its quality service and, quote, go out on a high note. That's all for now on Seen and Heard. I'm Kennedy Fowler. Back to you ladies at the desk.
Thank you, Kennedy. You know, that's a lot of crazy news coming from the entertainment world. But on the other side of things, the sports world, I'm proud to say that I'm from the DFW.
I mean, which team are we talking about? Because I know you're not talking about the Mavs or the Stars.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the Texas Rangers, the good old Texas Rangers, you know. And I know our sports reporter, Mark Barrera, can back me up on this one. Right, Mark?
Oh, of course, Ariana. The Rangers are red hot right now, and despite Lillian's pessimism, I think the Stars can come back. That and more when we come back.
Did you know you have access to video equipment like DVDs, video games, and cameras? That's right, you do. Did you know you have access to video equipment like DVDs, video games, and cameras? That's right, you do. Come on down to Chilton Library and fulfill your media dream. Located on the bottom floor next to the student sculpture. Hope to see you there soon. Hey girl, you know you look good. I like the way you move and groove. I'm not sure.
I'm here to rescue you.
Oh, my prince.
No so fast.
This story's going to be awesome.
The Texas Rangers won again last night in style as they took care of the Kansas City Royals 12-2. This is the Rangers' third win in a row, and out of the last 10 games, the Rangers have come out on top 7 times. Now, I know it's early, but they currently sit nicely on top of that AL West at 11-6, with the closest team being the LA Angels, only at 9-8. In my personal opinion, this is the best Rangers team since the 2010s that we've seen on the diamond, and fans should have a lot more to cheer for. Even more so because star pitcher Jacob deGrom is not as injured as expected after having to leave Monday's game against the Royals after 4 innings due to a right wrist soreness. Although deGrom has a history of being injured, he is expected to make his next start on Sunday against the Oakland A's. And on top of that, if you were a fan of the new City Connect jerseys the Texas Rangers just released, the uniforms will also be making their debut on Friday during the series against the A's, and you can catch the Red Hot Rangers again today at 1 p.m. as they wrap up their series versus the Kansas City Royals. Now heading to the only DFW team currently playing in the playoffs, the Dallas Stars lost a heartbreaker on Monday to the Minnesota Wild 3-2 in a game where we saw not one, but 2 overtimes. You definitely needed some coffee to keep you up as the game didn't finish till about 1 in the morning. The Wild struck first with a goal less than a minute into the game as Kirill Kaprizov scored on a power play, but the Stars didn't let up as they scored twice in the second period, both on power plays, one goal by Rupe Hintz and the other by Jason Robertson. The Wild Sam Steele tied the game up with 14 minutes and 25 seconds left in the third period, and after a long wait, Ryan Hartman scored in double overtime to seal the game 1 victory for the Wild. The loss puts the Stars down 0-1 in the series, but they will have a chance to tie it up tonight at 8:30, but could possibly be shorthanded as Joe Pavelski's injury is still undisclosed. Finally, somehow, someway, the Dallas Mavericks are still making headlines during the NBA playoffs, despite not even being in them. The past Friday, the NBA fined the Dallas Mavericks $750,000 for sitting key players out during the game against the Chicago Bulls, where the Mavs ultimately lost 115-112. Key players such as Kyrie Irving, Reggie Bullock, Tim Hardaway Jr., Maxi Kleber, Christian Wood, and Jalen Green didn't even play, and even Luka Doncic only played the first quarter. Now, at the time of the game, the Mavs still had a chance, unlikely as it was, to make the play-in tournament as they were only a game behind the 10th-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder. If the Mavs were to end up trying to win against the Bulls but not make the play-in tournament, that would have given the Mavs draft position in this upcoming NBA draft to the New York Knicks from the trade that they did with Kristaps Porzingis a couple years ago. The NBA stated the Mavericks violated the league's player resting policy and demonstrated through actions and public statements the organization's desire to lose the game in order to improve the chances of keeping its first-round pick in the 2023 NBA draft. Owner Mark Cuban did not say anything regarding the fine by the NBA, but in Mark Cuban fashion, he is planning to send $750,000 to a local charity to match the league's fine. That's all for sports. Back to y'all at the desk.
Things aren't looking too good for the Mavs, but for you banana lovers, today is your day. Every third Wednesday in April is always National Banana Day.
And the best way to celebrate is to eat one. Bananas are the oldest cultivated fruits in the world and the most popular. More than 100 billion are produced and circulated around the world each year.
Bananas are normally peeled and eaten raw, but they are very versatile. Add them to a peanut butter sandwich, muffin, pie, or cake. Either way, consider adding them to your diet.
You're making me extremely hungry right now. Well, happy National Banana Day to all, and to all, a good afternoon.
Thanks for watching ntTV's News at Noon.
Join us again here tonight at 6 and tomorrow at noon here on North Texas Television.